Sideline. I'm your host, Aaron Cooney. Episode 125 coming at you, and Lindsay Roberacker just joined me before. Joining me now, Matt Desmond, going to talk a little soccer with us. Both teams were in action. Road trip up to Damon this past Saturday. Both teams taking on Damon Wildcats at their home field. Start off with the women's team, as they were trying to continue a little bit of a hot streak that they were running on, trying to keep in that race for the AMC standings, hopefully to pull out a playoff spot with a few games remaining here coming up at the end of the month. But as we'll see in the full screen, women would lose 4-3. Point Park falls to 4-7. Damon, a tough squad though, will move on to 9-3. Goals from Kuntz, Evans, and Delaney, and really tough loss for the Pioneers. Had the 3-0 lead throughout the whole game, and Damon able to come back and win this, steal this one really in extra time, 4-3. I'm going to bring in Matt Desmond, talk some about this game. And Matt, we talked about their defense last week, but what really happened at this game?
You really saw in this Damon game that Point Park was out there to make a statement, and they were doing that in the first half. They were doing excellent. They had a 1-0 lead at halftime. Now, Point Park's not a very high-scoring team, and they just needed to get on the board first in many occurrences where they haven't done this year. But you saw the second half, they fell apart. They allowed Damon, the Wildcats, to get back in this game, make that score 3-3, and cause that game to go into overtime. And when you're going on the road and you're facing one of the more upper echelon teams in Damon, you want to make a statement and you want to say your defense is good enough to stop them, and they just weren't able to do that.
And it's a shame. And the defense has been solid all year long and held teams to one-goal games. It stayed in games, but Point Park, as you mentioned, never really scored. Having a hard time filling the net, scoring goals, and to be up 3-0. Is this just a matter of maybe inexperience or the youthful team just not being able to hold on to win, maybe getting ahead of themselves before the game was over?
Yeah, I think they just weren't familiar with the spot they were actually at that game, because Point Park, when they usually go on the road, they're usually used to playing from behind, and I think being in that position, actually having the lead on the road against a team that you really, in most cases, you shouldn't beat, but they were actually ahead of the Damon Wildcats, I thought they were just a little bit out there, and they were a little confused and not familiar with the spotlight.
Yeah, just an unfortunate loss for the Pioneers. They'll try and bounce back, though. The women's team has 3 games this week, starting Tuesday, a makeup with Seton Hill. That'll be out at Founders Field. Rain out from September the 7th. So they'll make that up Tuesday, then also take the road trip with the men's team this Friday and Saturday going up to New York. They will finish their New York road trip, take on Houghton on Friday, and then Roberts Wesleyan on Saturday. As we mentioned, the men, same trip with the women this past week, taking on Damon Wildcats, and Damon also another good team in the AMC. Pioneers looking to continue their role. Men's team just much improved on this year, and we'll see. And got another big win here for the Pioneers, 5-3. Goal scoring galore for Point Park. They moved to 8-2-1. Damon falls to 3-6. But Matt, goal scoring has been there, and this is one of their keys for this Point Park men's team to move on.
Yeah, as you see each week, that one person will step in that lineup and actually be a big contributing factor. We saw that Lucas Silva was the answer to that offense early in the year, but now we're seeing that the young freshman Gwendolyn Hobel, he answered big time here for the Pioneers, scoring 2 goals. But I was looking at this game, the Pioneers had 10 shots on goal, which is great. They need to do that against AMC opponents, which has been a flaw from the last year. They just weren't able to get the ball on net, and that's exactly what you need. You need to get these shots on net and just a better opportunity to score.
You mentioned better opportunities to score, and you look at the point production from this team. Pioneers, 4 players in double figures now. Silva with 18, Tabi 16, Hobel 15. Matt, to get the offensive production, and then they get the goaltending as well from Mitchell Kelman. I mean, this Pioneer squad is looking very tough going down the stretch.
Yeah, the Pioneers right now are ranked number 1 in the AMC. They're joined with another conference because of the situation they face. But we saw they have enough firepower actually to win the AMC this year. And Mitchell Kelman is doing a great job at the goalie position, filling in for Zeke O'Donnell. He's won Defensive Player of the Week again. And I just see a bright future for the Pioneers.
Pioneers men team taking on this same road trip as I mentioned. Friday they will be at Houghton. Saturday at Roberts Wesleyan. Matt, where do you see? How do you see Point Park faring in these games? And Houghton 6-6. Roberts not as that much better. They're 2-8. But 2 big AMC wins or games here that Pioneers really need to go and take.
Well, you saw when the Pioneers, they had Houghton here last week, and they were unable to get that victory. They actually gave away the lead, and this is a team they have to beat. We saw that Houghton's only a 1-3-1 team. The Pioneers are a much better team than that, and I think they really need to make a statement down the road. They're going to get in the playoffs. They're a team that's a high-caliber team. They need to start making a statement against these upper teams in the AMC.
Matt, thank you very much. We will see how the Pioneers do next week on the show. Matt, be sure to join us, and we'll talk a little more soccer. Thank you again. Right now, we're going to step over to the Courthouse Tavern Case of the Week, talk a little hockey. The ice is nice and cold, fresh, ready to play. Nip in the air. We'll see how what these guys think in the Atlantic Division.